All right, so then after we looked at multiples, we took a look at the lowest common multiple. This is a way to organize our thinking around this topic. So you know that multiple is referring to skip counting or multiplication. So this question is saying find the lowest common multiple of the numbers 3 and 4. In other words, we're skip counting, we're talking about multiples, so we're skip counting by 3s and skip counting by 4s. And I want to find what are the multiples that they have in common. In other words, what numbers do you get when you skip count by 3 and skip count by 4? Which numbers match up for both? And out of all of those, which one is the lowest? Okay, so let's take a look at what that would look like. So if I'm skip counting by 3s, I'm going to skip 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and so on. And if I'm skip counting by 4s, I'm going to skip count 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and so on. And now I look so far, out of all of the numbers that I've skip counted by, which multiples do they have in common? Well, they have the number 12 in common. If I count by 3s and I count by 4s, I'll land on the number 12. They also have the number 24 in common. If I skip count by 3s and I skip count by 4s, I'll eventually land on the number 24. But the question is asking which one will I land on first? Which number do they have in common that comes first? In this case, if I skip counting by 3s and skip counting by 4s, the lowest common multiple between these two numbers is 12. So I would say the lowest common multiple is 12 between the numbers 3 and 4. So go ahead and try this example on your own. Find the lowest common multiple of the numbers 4 and 6. Pause the video and then resume when you're ready to see the solution. Okay, so I'm finding the lowest common multiple, which means that I'm skip counting. I'm skip counting by 4s and skip counting by 6s until I get a match between the two numbers. So if I'm going to count by 4s, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, and so on. And if I'm going to skip count by 6s, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, and so on. And if I look at all of the numbers they have in common, I can see they have the number 12 in common, they have the number 24 in common, they have the number 36 in common. Okay, so they have several numbers that are in common, but the lowest out of all of them, the lowest common multiple is 12. That's the first number that they will match up at. Okay, so the lowest common multiple for 4 and 6 also happens to be 12. All right, so just keep in mind when you see lowest common multiple, you're skip counting and you're seeing which number shows up first when you skip count by those two numbers.